Hello and welcome to our LEGO Star Wars MOC. Last week I did a not so great job rounding out the top of Echo Base Mountain. So this week it's back after it to clean up what I did last week, make it look awesome. And don't forget to stick around to the end of the video where we give you an update on the viewer decided secret cave. So let's get building.
Alright guys, so last week we were working on rounding off the top of our mountain and we started that process, but as you know, we're not really satisfied with our results. There's a couple goofy looking sections in here, especially right in here and then right in this area here with all those slanted pieces. Doesn't quite look right, doesn't quite look like how we wanted it to, so we're gonna make some modifications here to, make everything look a little better. And then we're also want to fix up the top part of the ice peaks here, as they look a little weird, just kind of going off into space there. We want to add some sort of rounded lip off the edge here. So that's something we're also going to be working on. And also too, I want to extend our mountain out a little bit over here, maybe with some curvatures here as well, with that lip too. But mainly we're just trying to fix up the jankiness of this whole area here, make it look a little better. And don't forget to stick around till the end of today's video, because we're going to be placing in a minifigure that you can vote on. There's all different sorts of options we can go with this minifigure, and we don't exactly know which one to do, so we're going to let you guys decide. So definitely stick around to check out that, because it's going to be invigorating. But anyway, let's get into this.
So assistant, this is the picture of our original inspiration for our Echo Base Mountain. And the one thing I really liked was how deep it went in, and I really liked the curvature of this mountain. But the one thing I didn't like at all was it looks like a crocodile's back. I didn't like how, how scaly it looked. So I was trying last week desperately to make the rounded top, but I feel like I failed miserably. But you're saying that just with a few adjustments, we could fix it.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not going to be too bad. I actually have no idea how they built this in the first place. They must have used a very interesting technique with all these slant pieces, because the more I look into this, the more I think it's not real. I don't even know how you did this. So if this was you, bravo, you did something crazy. But over here, we're definitely doing something more different. I don't know as far as the rounded edge, how rounded it's going to be, because I'm definitely going to add more of this stuff in to make it look a little better. But it will at least kind of, come to a close up here. And that's how we're just going to have it. But we're going to make it look not garbage, and that's our main goal. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
Yeah, and the last thing that I wanted to say was I just didn't like the peaks, because you said it last week. It looks like there's nothing behind it. It looks like you know how they set up fake cities and fake towns in front of cheap movies, or the the Mount Everest ride at your local fairground. I don't like that. So I think if we kind of round out the top a little bit, just so there's no it doesn't look, I think you said the word, janky.
Yeah, we just want to make it look a little better.
Another problem I was having, assistant, is the gap problem. I keep creating these gaps. I think it's because there's too much weight in the back.
Yeah, that's why we really can't have any overhang bigger than what we have right now, because it's gonna break. It will definitely cause problems.
Intent was it would go 8 or 9 bricks high from here. So it's 2, 4, so that is around 8 or 9 bricks high.
Yeah, I mean, in the future, if we want it, we always can make it higher. I want to have a baseline for right now.
Well, the higher you make it, the more it starts to pull back.
I want to have a baseline for today's video. Just to make it nice and simple.
Right, nice baseline. So it's straight across.
I think I'm making leeway.
I would say you're making leeway.
Headway.
Making progress.
Something like that. Progress. Progress.
It looks less like a the front of a fun house at your local carnival, and it's looking more like an actual Hoth top.
I agree. I think for right now we're just gonna leave it at this height. We may end up doing something again with it in the future. This may work for us, but as you can see, it's getting a little bit more less garbage.
Yes.
And I didn't even do very much. Like I said, it only required very slight modifications, and everything is back on track. It's a little
gappy.
Well, you know, Lobricks, how we roll.
So one thing, assistant. Somebody who gave us some feedback a few weeks back. They were like, "Oh, you got to get rid of the gaps." You know what? I like the gaps. Anyone who's been to Alaska or Iceland, there are little cracks and gaps in the snow.
Me? No, man. Yeah, I mean, we're keeping this is how it is. So if you don't like it, too bad. Build your own home. That's
right. Oh, I like that. So it's going to be gappy?
It's going to be gappy.
It's going to be gappy.
Yeah. So
we'll do our best to get rid of some of the gaps, but it gives it catnip. I mix character and atmosphere together into catmosphere.
Catmosphere.
Characterosphere.
We should make a dictionary of leaky words.
Yes. Catmosphere. It's giving it catmosphere.
Oh my goodness.
You know what catmosphere reminds me of is those t-shirts they have. Those kind of kooky t-shirts where they have like cats in space. Kind of the hipsters wear them these days.
Cats in space?
Yeah,
I think that may have been a thing, but like 10 years ago.
Oh, well, I'm a little, I'm leaky. I'm a little out of date.
That's about as close as we can get.
I like it.
For right now, I think I'm going to do something drastic.
Oh no. That was your favorite part. You liked how it went one way, that way, this way.
Yes, opinions change. But
opinions do change.
It's not that I don't like it, it's that it doesn't look very good right now. To fix it.
It's not that you don't like it, it's just that you don't like it.
And to fix it, it's like when you're in a Minecraft world and you want to build a house somewhere. You kind of have to manifest your own destiny a little bit and modify some modifications.
Like Lewis and Clark.
Like Lewis and Clark.
Were they the manifest destineers?
No, they were the explorers. The manifesting came later.
Ah, I see. That's when we booted all the Native Americans off their lands?
Yes, that is.
Okay.
That is when the United States committed atrocities in the name of progress.
Our storied past.
Of course. Yikes. That's all I have to say about that one.
Yikes.
Oh, yikes.
But I don't think Hoth was a manifest destiny situation. It was a hiding situation. They were hiding from the Empire while they were pursuing them. The Empire was pursuing the rebels across the galaxy.
Yeah, I don't think they were trying to manifest any destinies.
Yep.
I
think the opening credits literally say Luke Skywalker and his band of Hoth rebels were being pursued across the galaxy by agents of the Empire or something like that.
Agents of the Empire?
That's right.
They're dumping Agent Orange on these guys now? Oh my goodness. I'm gonna start not getting knocks on their doors.
Wasn't that like a Manifest Destiny game by Microsoft called Ages of Empires or Age of Empires?
Age of Empires? I'm sure there was. I think that may have been a... Manifest Destiny was a time... confusing times. I'm knocking things down! No. Alright, one annoying quirk is that this is all one block too high. For this to all be one consecutive layer. Oh, wait, no, not necessarily. We can keep this. As always, if any of you guys have ever built Lego things this large, you kind of lose track of what studs go where and what levels things are at. So things just start kind of hitting the fan when you get to a spot like this. You're like, ah, geez, man, Where did all this stuff go?
It's kind of like when they're lining up the dancers in Magic Mike. You don't know which studs go where.
Yeah, it's really confusing. That was a good one, Leaky. I appreciated it. Magic Mike is a little outdated with the current form of online pornography.
I may or may not have seen that movie with Mrs. Leaky.
Oh jeez.
I did not see that movie.
A little too much magic.
Yeah, a little too much magic. I would rather spend an evening watching The Mandalorian than watch that, whatever that is.
Watching a man
strip.
All right, so here we are. We've had a lot of progress over the last couple of, minutes here. I've really worked to try to smooth out and then round off the top here. So how I did that is I used these longer slope pieces more towards the top and then some steeper ones towards the bottom instead of those roof style pieces. I don't know if Leaky wants to put a before and after here, but it is definitely moving along nicely, and also those peaks are gone, so it no longer looks super weird. I'm not exactly sure what we want to do on the top, but I think a reasonable goal is to get the rest of the mountain at this level and at this point, especially all the way down into there. And then, of course, this whole section over here needs to be worked on and fiddled with to raise up our shield generator here and then build down this lip all the way in through here. So tons of work that needs to be done. So I'm not really concerned about what we're going to be doing over on top of this section, just because, it's not really going to be a concern for us anytime soon. But right now what I want to do is I want to extend this part all the way out to here just so we can get an idea of what the full mountain's going to look like over there, because I think that's going to be so sick once this is all the way up to there. And then of course we have to work on this section over here, which is going to be a nightmare. But let's get into it. All right, so now that we got this main section here all fixed up and looking better, I want to continue the wave of good, transitions and good rock work across to the end of the mountain here, just so we have one kind of side of the mountain done, so it's not like this little weird void left here. So this is where I'm going to continue to build. It's not going to take too long. I think I'm going to curve this out a little bit and then have this kind of bulbous mass continue to crawl up here. So it was a rock chunk here, so it's going to also be chunked out up over here just to have a little bit of continuity between the levels, and that's going to look pretty good. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let's get into it. All right, so this is the last little part. All I do is essentially I take the correct size piece here and then I stick it into place. Obviously, sometimes the correct size piece is not going to fit perfectly, like right here. So you have to take a 1x1 and then patch it at the bottom there. So it's a very fun little game you can play.
Assistant, are you going to do a little decorative greeble up on top? Greeble.
I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be the cap or it's going to go up a little bit more. So I think for right now, to be safe, I think we're going to leave it pretty flat.
Nice.
So I apologize for all of the decorative greeble lovers in the chat. All right, so there we go. I finished up this little section of the mountain. This is kind of what I had in mind for this area here. So in the future, I may go in right in here, just in this section here, and do this style of technique just so it's a little more seamed in through here. so it just kind of flows better. But for right now, I think this cliff looks pretty good, and I'm glad I did that because now this is all one continuous section. So our mountain is just, you know, it's growing up one step, and you can see what we mean by that upper top layer. But anyway, in the future, we have to extend it down and kind of figure out what we're gonna do with our shield generator situation. It's gotta be moved up, it's gotta be pushed over, everything's gotta be built. So that's gonna be cool, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, there's all kinds of stuff going on in the back of the MOC over here. Like we've been building these footprints recently to kind of give some more greeble to the ground. And we also did have a vote recently on what's gonna go in the ice cave back here. And of course, Grogu and Mandalorian won the vote. So that's the scene that's going in here. I'm not exactly sure, I'm not familiar with the scene, but Leaky is.
Yes, I am the assistant. So a couple of things. So in first place came Grogu and Mandalorian and the Ice Spiders. So thanks to Pigeon Gamer in Discord, he sent me a build for Ice Spiders and a Rubricable. Here's a pic of it right there. That's pretty cool. So I got the pieces coming in for that. I'm gonna build 2 of those guys. But then also, in second place, it was Darth Vader and some snowtroopers like planning an attack. I don't know if we're gonna have enough room. It's a pretty big ice cave, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But we did want to put some kyber crystals, and Target Legend found the perfect piece. Target Legend found these for us. We're gonna buy these pieces to fill in with kyber crystals, and obviously, we have to do some work across the back of the ice cave.
Yes, of course. Well,
disheveled.
As you know, the Wampa Cave is kind of our golden standard for things. We're looking to do this level of detail over here with Mandalorian and Grogu in the ice cave. And I'm really glad Mandalorian and Grogu won just because they are really sweet minifigures. And speaking of sweet minifigures, we still have to add one to the MOC for today's episode. So, you know, there's a lot of choices we have. We could pick, I don't know, maybe a custom minifigure, maybe a Rebel Trooper, maybe a Rebel Trooper. And if we're lucky, it just might be a Rebel Trooper. So let's go see which figure we're putting on the MOC today. And of course, the minifigure for today is going to be Torin Farr, the custom minifigure that came...
You lied, assistant. You said Rebel Trooper.
What? I said it could be a custom one, and this is the figure that came in the, of course, very controversial set, the Ultimate Collector's Edition, Invasion of Hoth or whatever. And, you know, I'm actually quite controversial about this figure myself. For one thing, she's not wearing gloves. Every other figure in our command center has either white gloves on or gray gloves on. So that is a little annoying. And she has, you know, I know Leaky has gripes about the figure as well.
I got a big gripe, a huge gripe. She's not wearing a headset.
Yeah, so she's not wearing a headset. I say that's not a big deal. So Leaky is proposing that we should hold a vote. Again, another vote, because you guys liked this one last time.
It's a poll, actually. We're going to be doing a poll. In the community section, there's a poll. Keep the Torin Farr with the headset, or the original, actual Torin Farr minifigure sans the headset.
Or I'm proposing a third option. The original Torin Farr, no change to the head with gray gloves.
Ah, and that's, so we just swap out her hands?
And we're gonna call that one Assistant's Choice.
Ooh.
And then of course Leaky's choice, which would be to swap out the torso and then just keep the new guy. So basically head swap and hand swap, or go with the original.
I vote for Leaky's choice.
Well, of course, you vote for... I'm going to put in my vote for Assistant's Choice.
Assistant's Choice. So that's the original Torin Farr.
With gray gloves.
With gray gloves.
Yes.
And since you lied, we also have to put down... We have to put some Rebel Troopers down.
So 2 Rebel Troopers.
So I had one final question before we place them.
Okay.
If somebody votes for the original Torin Farr, are we going to stick the other one? And I know that's a dude's head. So we'll probably have to give her... Should we put her somewhere else in the base then? Obviously, we're not going to waste a minifigure.
I suppose, yes. So for right now, we have to figure out where this person's going to go. And I think, honestly, I kind of want her working on these control panels.
She's got a headset, so why not, eh?
Yeah, she's an engineer. So that is might change depending on what the results of the poll are. But for right now, we finally got, much to Leaky dismay, the official Torin Farr minifigure.
Without a headset, how could she talk to the ion cannon?
I think it's fine, but she definitely needs those light gray gloves because look at everyone else. Their hands are nice and toasty, where hers are going to be freezing because she's gloveless.
And they have her hand on the trigger of the ion cannon. So if she's cold, she could misfire and blow up like one of the transports.
Of course. So very controversial there. But anyway, Leaky, where are we gonna put these Rebel Troopers?
Well, so last week we did a cinematic. So I think when I was doing the cinematic, I noticed the line.
Oh,
the
yes.
Is a little light here. We need more.
More troops.
Troops of the line, men of the line.
Put another one right there. I'm thinking okay. In between there. Right there. Maybe a little over. Over.
He'd be black.
In between the gun there and there. So that's right. Some good alignment. And I say another man right there right in there. The firing line.
We need a.
Is he not tall enough?
Yeah.
Maybe they should only enlist the tall troopers. No one below 6 foot can be enlisted.
No, wait a minute. Aren't all the minifigures the exact same size?
Listen, of course they're not. They do measuring contests, and the minifigures. What? There's more manly minifigures who are 6 feet tall, and then there's less manly minifigures who are 5 feet 11 tall.
I think they're all the same height.
No, there's a difference. Trust me. There's a difference.
Oh, okay.
But those are the figures we're adding right now. Of course, more Rebel Troopers to hold the line. And you know, now that we've added the 2 Rebel Troopers, I think they might stand a chance against the 3 massive invading walkers.
4 and 1 that's dead.
Yeah, and this is also not to scale. The UCS walkers to scale, these things would be much bigger in reality. So these guys are probably, the amount of poo in their pants is quite enormous.
But go back and watch when we put the UCS on here, it looks ridiculous.
We're definitely not doing that. What do you think we're made of? Cash? No way. Those things are like $8 billion. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I really am happy with what we did with the mountains. We kind of sprinkled in some more detail just to make them look a little nicer. And of course, we have to continue said detail on into the shield generators. But if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe so you can stay tuned because we're getting pretty close to the end of this Hoth series. I mean, the end is coming up. I don't know when it's going to be, but it's probably going to be soon. I mean, the end is coming up. It's got to be just right around the corner, so you can't miss out on that. Everyone's going to be talking about it. It's going to be the hot topic on Twitter for at least an afternoon. I promise you that. So that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. But anyway, I will see you in the next one. Later.